Hi everyone, Shari Pheasant here for session 3. Really excited to take you into this one because I'm going to expose my favorite booklet. It's actually my first booklet. Have you ever got tired of repeating yourself again and again and again, saying the same thing, not to the same person even necessarily, just to everyone you talk to? Well, leadership has changed. And so in talking about the story of leaders, a couple years back, I felt like I kept saying the same thing again and again, and it felt really important to me, and I wanted to get it out there. So I publicized a booklet called The Truth Between Leaders and Teams. This booklet exposes a lot of the facts that are research-based from reliable sources about leaders and teams. I'm going to point out a few of them to you today, but if you look below, there's a download just for you. One of the important facts that I want to talk about is that 89% of bosses believe that employees quit because they want more money. I mean, let's face it, when they leave, most of the time they say, it's because I got more money. And they probably did. That doesn't mean that's the reason they left. However, consider this. They're not in your employ anymore. Any problem, issue that arose while they were there that caused them to leave, they really have no reason to mention again. They're not there, so what does it matter? In their mind, they're leaving you with your problem, and they can't solve it for you because you didn't listen while they were there. So this is what I want you to know. They don't leave for money, because when you ask employees, only 12% of them say they left the job for money. So what are they leaving for? We know it's not the job that they leave either. It's really about the manager. Employees leave a manager, not a job. If you look here, 92% of employees said that they would be more likely to stay with their job if their bosses would show more empathy. And 79% of them said their boss doesn't even care about their happiness. So 76% do not feel valued. What does that matter to you? Well, here's what I believe. And I believe what I know to be true, what I found to be true from the evidence that I've gathered in all of the hundreds of teams that I've worked with. Ready? Here it comes. Get your pen out. Employee happiness is the strongest profit driver in your business, on your team, in your company, every time. Shall I say it again? It is that important. Employee happiness is the ultimate profit driver in every business, period. Actually, let's put an exclamation point on that because it really is important. So let's talk about leadership training. 58% of managers say they have not received proper training to handle their team. By the way, if you haven't had leadership training in the past 2 years, you're behind the 8 ball. Because training has changed. The way that leaders need to act today is absolutely different than prior to 2020. Don't worry, that won't be the last time I mention it, because 2020 really has changed our world in more ways than you'll ever imagine. Now, I know leaders believe they're doing the best they can. And is it enough? Probably not. When was the last time your leaders were trained to strategically lead the new workforce? And how is that influencing your team? Think about that. I know the war for talent is real, and developing leaders has to be the #1 focus for every company. There's not enough leaders out there. There's bosses, there's people that you report to. There are not enough leaders. Let me define a leader. A leader is someone who pours into others to help them succeed. Okay, so you're pouring into others. You're not someone who gathers the best people so you look good. That was old leadership style. So developing your people is a must for you as a leader. Let's stop and review a few more facts, just in case I don't have you motivated enough yet. Managers account for at least 70% of the variance in employee engagement. What that means to you is that as a manager, if you have a team that is not engaged, the first and foremost place that you should be looking is, at yourself, not at your team, not finding out who didn't meet what deadline. But if it's a pattern and a trend for you, you are the greatest influence on your team and that engagement. Yes? Okay, let's move to the next one. 75% of companies struggle with overwhelmed employees. What does that mean to you? That means we're giving employees too much and we're really not tracking what they do. Let's see what that looks like to you. What if everyone around you was saying, I can't get that done. They're missing deadlines. It's halfway. Look at your leadership. Are you not concerned with timelines and deadlines and productivity and efficiency and capacity? Because if you're giving your employee too much for their capacity, then they're going to fail. And that's your responsibility as a leader. Did you know that 48% of our workforce right now are millennials? In fact, I bet if you're watching this, we might have already surpassed that 48% mark. I think we're over 50% with millennials now. And have you studied how millennials think? Because it's different. And don't groan. That's not okay. Every time I speak in a room, I say the word millennials and everyone goes, "Ugh!" And I stop the madness right there. I say, hold up. If you have children between the ages of 26 and 34, or 28 and 36, depending on what research you're looking at, you have a millennial. Raise your hand. Notice my hand's up. So when they were children, did you teach them to have a voice? Did you teach them how important their perspective was and that they need to be heard? Did you challenge them to question leadership because you weren't sure that leadership that they would be under the influence of would be doing the right thing? Because we've seen leaders take a huge shift in the last 20 years? Did you let them know that they were of value and important, and if they were anywhere where they didn't feel that, they should leave? Nodding your head? Me too. That's how we built millennials. We built millennials together. Now, you might not have known what the result was going to be from your teaching, but I guarantee you that you taught them to be that way. Now, those of you that are out there thinking millennials are entitled, I challenge you on that perspective. I believe what millennials are doing is they're asking for a higher level of credibility, of accountability, and leadership in the workforce. And when they don't get it, they check out. They're disengaged. So you might see entitlement. I challenge you to ask yourself, is that really disengagement? Did you also know that 81% of organizations know there's going to be a shortfall in leadership in just 5 years? Because they know leaders haven't been trained. They realize that the workforce wants something different. So what are you going to do? Well, you are here. And what I know is that after this training, you are going to think different. You're going to act differently. You're going to look at millennials differently, and you will be challenging the culture of the organization you work with. So I hope that you stick this out all the way, because we're going to show you how to manage up, how to take your new knowledge and make it work, and how to be the leader wherever you go. And by the way, ladies, companies are looking for women leaders. We're going to dig into that a little bit more. And here's what I want you to know. The facts show through research that companies that have women in positions of leadership along with men perform better, have more profit, more engaged employees, more happiness, more efficiency, all of it. Why? Because women are nurturers. Women's leadership is exactly what the new workforce is looking for. And you have it right there by being a woman. So let's add some more, right, to your toolbox so you can be a great female leader. I want you to lead your legacy to greatness, and I want you to lead others to greatness too. Let's face it, businesses are losing money. They're losing $450 to $550 billion a year before you even know it. And money doesn't grow on trees. So if you don't keep track of what's going on in your business with your employees, with your staff, with your team, and with you as a person, before you know it, your tree is empty. Thanks for sticking around for session 3 of the Lead Your Legacy Women's Innovative Leadership Program. I hope to see you on the inside. Let's dig in.